Suck is JaRule on the plane.
Just when it felt like everything was barely hanging on by a thread. 50 Cent's crew completely shut down any hope of peace after crossing paths with JaRule on a plane. This time, though, JaRule wasn't backing down. Pillows started flying, hats were knocked off, and the internet instantly went into a frenzy. What unfolded next was something nobody saw coming. The Delta flight incident added another explosive chapter to a beef that has been simmering for decades. It was Super Bowl weekend, February 8th, 2026, and just about everyone in entertainment was leaving San Francisco after the big game. JaRule, traveling alone, boarded a Delta flight headed to JFK. Imagine being in his position, minding your business, possibly thinking about your upcoming grandchild, then looking up and spotting Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda sitting on the very same plane. Tony Yayo, a core member G-Unit, has been riding with 50 Cent since day one, and Uncle Murda is another longtime affiliate moving with that same circle. JaRule was by himself while they were together, and the tension sparked immediately. According to eyewitness accounts and viral footage obtained by TMZ, JaRule didn't sit quietly in his seat. He stood up in the aisle and started shouting toward Yayo and Murda, repeatedly yelling, "What we doing?" The hostility was there from the jump. Yayo and Murda fired back from their seats, sending expletives right at him. And even when a passenger or crew member tried to calm things down by placing hands on JaRule's shoulders, it didn't slow him down at all. Then came the moment that threw the internet into complete chaos. JaRule grabbed a pillow and launched it straight at Tony Yayo's head, knocking his hat clean off in the middle of a commercial flight packed with passengers. A pillow fight at 30,000 feet, right in front of everybody. At that point, the flight crew had seen enough. They stepped in quickly, and JaRule was escorted off the plane. Some reports claimed all three men were briefly removed, but Uncle Murda later posted that he ended up taking JaRule's seat after he was taken off, captioning it, "I got off the plane, oh, I took a seat," followed by a flood of laughing emojis. No arrests were made, no punches were thrown, and the flight eventually continued without any further drama. Now here's where things got even more entertaining. 50 Cent wasn't even on that plane, but the moment those videos hit the internet, he became the main commentator on the entire situation. He reposted Uncle Murda's clips on Instagram, adding captions clowning JaRule, claiming he saw them, said, "Oh, it's Murda," and basically panicked because he was alone and outnumbered. 50 called him scary and suggested JaRule only cause a scene so the crew would remove him because he didn't actually want real smoke. Tony Yayo doubled down in interviews, saying JaRule looked shaken the second he spotted them and that the whole outburst was just a way to get himself escorted off safely. But 50 didn't stop at commentary. He went into full production mode, posting an AI-generated video showing JaRule literally jumping out of an airplane like he was skydiving to escape, with dramatic lyrics layered over it. The clip spread like wildfire, with major hip-hop pages reposting similar edits as the memes kept multiplying. In one post, 50 dropped "sucker LOL" in the comments, which has basically become his signature move. He managed to turn a mid-air pillow toss into a full-blown viral comedy spectacle. JaRule, on his end, didn't immediately back down. On X and Instagram, he fired back, claiming he confronted those punks by himself on a plane and calling them soft. And he kept that same energy afterward, talking about accountability and the importance of carrying yourself properly, especially at his age and position in life. JaRule made it clear that as a grown man preparing to become a grandfather, he understood he had to move differently and set a better example moving forward.
You know, nothing really happened, but I just want to say this from my standpoint. I'm almost 50 years old. I'll be a grandfather.
Congratulations.
Proud grandfather coming in May.
And he kept that same energy afterward, talking about accountability and the importance of carrying yourself properly, especially at his age and position in life. JaRule made it clear that as a grown man preparing to become a grandfather, he understood he had to move differently and set a better example moving forward.
But I feel like, as a older statesman in the hip-hop community, there's a responsibility that we have, to be gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I live by code.
Public reaction was mixed, but it leaned heavily toward amusement. A lot of people called the whole situation corny and embarrassing, pointing out that men in their late 40s and early 50s were still acting like this. Some fans gave JaRule credit for standing alone against two guys, while others clowned him for getting escorted off a commercial flight over a pillow throw. Comments like, "Two old men arguing on a commercial flight while 50 Cent flies private. Nobody won," pretty much captured the overall mood online. Major hip-hop outlets from The Breakfast Club to Complex covered it nonstop, and the debate dragged on for days. To really understand how a pillow toss on a plane becomes headline news, you have to rewind to where it all began. The feud between JaRule and 50 Cent dates back to 1999 in Southside Jamaica, Queens, when an associate of 50 allegedly robbed JaRule at gunpoint and took his chain while Ja was filming his Murder for Life video. Later, JaRule reportedly saw 50 greeting the same robber at Club Missouri, and from that moment, the tension turned deeply personal. That same year in Atlanta, a mutual manager attempted to set up a sit-down outside a hotel. JaRule showed up reportedly holding a baseball bat. 50 Cent swung first, hit Ja in the eye, and during the scuffle, snatched his chain.
He sees me outside of the hotel before 50 rolled up. And he's like, "Yo, Ja, 50 just want to talk to you about the whole situation that's going on. Will you talk to him?" And
from JaRule's perspective, the situation escalated almost instantly and never truly cooled off after that first physical altercation.
pulls up. So we get to talking, and the talk got heated because I got mad and I started screaming at him and telling him that,
Old footage later surfaced showing JaRule with a visibly swollen eye following that confrontation, further fueling the long-running narrative around their early clashes.
Y'all looking at my face like, what happened to him? I'm on the streets.
By March 2000, things turned violent at Hit Factory Studios in New York, where members of Murder Incorporated allegedly jumped 50 Cent, and he was stabbed by Black Child during the chaos. Then in May 2000, 50 Cent was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's house in an incident later linked to drug kingpin Kenneth McGriff, who reportedly had business ties to Murder Incorporated. 50 survived, was dropped by Columbia Records, and spent the next 2 years grinding through the mixtape circuit, remixing JaRule's own hits with harder, street-focused lyrics aimed at dismantling his image. When Eminem and Dr. Dre signed him to Shady Records and Aftermath in 2002, the conflict escalated from street-level tension to full-blown industry warfare, pulling in affiliates from both camps. G-Unit members like Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and Young Buck took shots at Murder Incorporated on mixtape after mixtape, while Gotti and Black Child responded in kind. That crew versus crew energy from 25 years ago is the exact same tension that resurfaced on that Delta flight in 2026, showing just how deep-rooted this rivalry truly is. If there was one weapon that caused more damage in JaRule and 50 Cent war than fists, knives, or bullets, it was a diss track. They didn't just exchange insults in interviews or on street corners. They crafted full records designed to embarrass and undermine each other in front of millions. Those songs shaped careers, damaged reputations, and transformed a Queen Street dispute into one of the most infamous rivalries in hip-hop history. The diss records weren't background noise. They were the headline AC that IT began in 1999 when 50 Cent released Your Life on the Line, a direct diss aimed at JaRule, even mimicking his signature ad-libs and referencing the chain taken during the earlier robbery. That was the first major shot on wax, setting the tone for everything that followed. But the real explosion came in 2002 with Wanksta, where 50 branded JaRule as a fake gangster without directly naming him. The track became a breakout hit, landed on the 8 Mile soundtrack, and introduced 50 Cent to a mainstream audience ready to choose sides. With his debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', dropped in 2003, it felt like an all-out declaration of war against Murder Incorporated. Tracks like Back Down went straight at JaRule's toughness, with lines mocking him as soft and commercial. The album went on to sell over 12 million copies worldwide, and the diss tracks embedded within it sent a clear message across hip-hop. Siding with JaRule increasingly looked like siding with the losing team.
Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. 5 heartbeats left, 1 last deep breath, freeze. I got a 16-shot Ruger, I got 16 dollars.
That track right there, 5 heartbeats. featured 50 Cent and Tony Yayo taking direct shots at JaRule, Fat Joe, and Jadakiss all at once, and it was absolutely ruthless.
JaJo and Jada, they're fucking retards. I run in the scope, oh my God. I make it hot, you want, I get your shot.
JaRule fired back in 2003 with Loose Change, but that record shifted the entire dynamic of the feud. He didn't just aim at 50 Cent. He went straight at Eminem's family, rapping about Eminem's mother's struggles, referencing his wife Kim's reputation, and even questioning what his daughter Haley would grow up to be. That crossed a line few, and hip-hop dare to cross. Eminem is famously protective of his daughter, and those lyrics pulled Shady Records fully into the conflict with serious intensity. Eminem, 50 Cent, and Busta Rhymes responded with Hail Mary in 2003, a remix of a Tupac Shakur classic that tore into JaRule, accusing him of imitating Tupac's style. The line suggesting he was just a changing face, and not the real thing, became iconic among fans. It wasn't just Eminem, Busta Rhymes, who had previously been on good terms with JaRule, switched sides and joined the lyrical attack. D12 and Obi Trice added their own shots on various mixtapes. The entire Shady/Aftermath machine focuses firepower on Murder Incorporated, leaving JaRule heavily outmatched on nearly every front. Meanwhile, the G-Unit members stayed relentless on the mixtape circuit. Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and Young Buck repeatedly targeted Murder Incorporated affiliates like Black Child and Cadillac Ton track after track. Black Child's Response Records failed to gain traction, and the proxy war between the two camps became increasingly one-sided on wax. That imbalance contributed to Murder Incorporated's decline when the FBI raided the label in January 2003, investigating alleged money laundering ties to Kenneth McGriff. JaRule was never charged, but the impact was undeniable. His album Blood in My Eyes sold around 468,000 copies, far less than his earlier releases. The diss tracks didn't just bruise his pride, they severely